Okay, welcome guys. Thank you for everyone coming to check out the live stream today. We got 5 games to go over. It's a pretty interesting slate, I think. There's a few different ways you can go with the stars. There's some games that are projected to be pretty high scoring. So yeah, I think it's a fun slate. If you guys are new to the channel, how this works is we'll take a look at what we know so far, review the Vegas odds, and then I'll go team by team, talk about players I like, and get to questions at the end. So, yeah, let's just jump right into what we know so far. And basically all we're waiting for is Devontae Graham. That's basically the only piece of news, which is kind of refreshing after last slate. One of the more stressful slates for sure, with just all that news like breaking right around lock. But, yeah, all we're waiting for right now is Devontae Graham. So, again, kind of nice. Taking a look at the Vegas odds, Magic and the Atlanta Hawks, it's pretty low total, 218. The Hawks are 12-point favorites. Definitely some blowout risk here. Clippers and Blazers is a 223.5 over under. The Clippers are 7-point favorites. Bulls and okay, no, never mind. Are those only 2 games we have out right now? I was about to read out games tomorrow. Let's see. No, I just didn't refresh. Okay, yeah. So the Nets Pelicans is a 235 over under. This game definitely stackable. Pelicans 3-point favorites. Hornets and Knicks, a pretty low one too, a 208 over under. The Knicks are 5.5-point favorites. And then, yeah, Timberwolves and Kings, 239 over under. Kings 3-point favorites. So those two I think look pretty solid. All right, guys. So yeah, let's go. Let's jump into it. Real quick though, I will ask if you guys do enjoy all the free content. If you could leave a like button on the live stream and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help me out a ton whenever you hit that like button. And are closing in on 9,000 subscribers. So hoping to get that maybe by the end of the month. All right. No, Kawhi's out. No. Just when I had a shot for best ball. It's like you can't make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up, man. Basically a nail in the coffin for me. I've had to deal with injuries to all my players. LeBron, Kawhi, Kat, Kyrie's missed a lot of games. I'm looking in really good shape. Honestly, I was looking in good shape to advance. It's like, how much more of that? Man, dude, that is just so frustrating. So frustrating. Yep. Exactly. Is he out a week? Is that what they said? Oh, that is to miss at least a week. All right. Well, enough of that. We'll get to that. We'll get to the Clippers. But now, obviously, Paul George looks really good. Oh, that is just a killer. A killer, because I had a really good chance to advance this week. Oh, man, that hurts. That hurts. All right. So let's start with Orlando. Honestly, there's not a ton I love for the Magic. Ross, Porter Jr., Ennis, MCW, all out. Wendell Carter Jr. is at 6'6". I have a hard time paying for him. We have other centers in that price range. Would much rather get to Cantor. Would probably rather take a shot in Whiteside in tournaments. So it's just a guy like Wendell Carter Jr. I'm probably not going to get to. Cole Anthony's at 6K. I think he's a pretty decent play in the mid-range. He did play 34 minutes the last game. If we get about 35 again from him in this up-tempo matchup, I'm good going to Cole Anthony. Other options, Dwayne Bacon, as much as I dislike playing him, he played 33 minutes the last game. I think we probably get similar minutes. He's a guy that can score the ball. The issue I have with playing Dwayne Bacon is he's pretty reliant on scoring and does have a low floor. You can take a shot on Bamba for tournaments for center. Again, though, center is kind of loaded today. We have Cat at the top. We have a couple mid-range centers. So, and I don't think I get to anyone else really for the Magic. Moving on to the Hawks. So, Clint Capella at 9.1K has been playing big minutes, playing massive minutes. Should be able to have his way against his front court. They're limiting John Collins' run at the moment. So, yeah, Clint Capella is a guy that I don't love the price, but he can for sure still pay off the salary. I don't think he's a priority play, though, for me. Trae Young, I like in tournaments as well. What we have to consider here, though, is the blowout risk. We're at a 12-point spread. So you got to factor that in when you're targeting any Atlanta players, you got to know that is a possible risk here. So I don't know if Trey's going to be super popular today, right? We have Kyrie, we have Zion, we now have Paul George in a great spot with no Kawhi. We got Cat and Fox in that late game. So I think Trae Young will be a little bit lower owned. Don't mind going there in a tournament setting. Bogdan feels a little bit pricey. I'm not going to John Collins, and that's probably it for me for Atlanta. You guys can just tell that Kawhi news is like literally, that just pains, that I am in a lot of pain. A lot of pain. Can I still advance without Kawhi? I mean, without Kawhi and LeBron James, I made it this far. And basically, I missed without Kyrie for a while and without Cat. I'm gonna need a lot of luck to advance without Kawhi for sure. Ugh. Sucks. Really, really does suck. But all right, so Charlotte. We're still waiting on Devontae Graham news, right? We should get this somewhat soon. Games in the next hour. Man, I can't look at that. Cannot look at that. If Devontae Graham is out, I think Terry Rozier is a good tournament play. I don't like the matchup, but in the last 3 games, 53, 52, and 69 fancy points for Terry Rozier. So again, good tournament play. Bridges is too pricey for me. McDaniels, a little bit too pricey. I want to see what they do with the starting lineup. If PJ Washington starts at the 5, then I think he's someone we can get to. Be careful, though. Don't expect 45 again from him. PJ's been up and down. He can get in some foul trouble. And the last time that this happened, when PJ had a big game, I'm sure some of you guys remember, he was the chalk and completely busted in a great matchup. So, I think PJ is definitely someone I'm interested in, but more interested in him if he starts at the 5. And then if there's no Devontae Graham, Cody Martin has started the last couple games, 35 and 38 minutes. Assuming he starts again, I think he's someone we can get to for value because of the price point and the minutes. That's probably it. I think Zeller got the backup 5 run the last game, but there's a lot of good center plays in this slate. I don't know if we have to go there. And then if Devontae Graham is in, probably off the Martin twins for value. I probably wouldn't get to Rozier either. Would probably just avoid the entire team, except maybe PJ if he starts at the 5. On the New York side, Randall, I think, is a good contrarian spend up. Again, with all those spend ups I've mentioned, I don't think Randall's going to be super popular, even though he's gone for 74 and 64 fantasy points the last couple games. So Randall, I think, is someone we can get to as a contrarian spend up. Barrett and Rose, don't really stand out. Noel is an all right value play. Should get around 25 to 30 minutes. Probably gets you around 20 to 25 fantasy points. Reggie Bullock is a guy I do not like playing, but the thing is, again, the minutes, kind of like a Dwayne Bacon, right? I don't like playing either of those guys, but both should play big minutes. So, yeah, Reggie Bullock's playable. Probably not going to get to anyone else on the New York Knicks. All right, so let's refresh. Let's make sure we're up to date here. And then let's move on to the next game, which is Brooklyn and New Orleans. This game looks really, really, really appealing. All right, on the Brooklyn side, so Kyrie Irving with no James Harden and no Kevin Durant, I think makes for one of the best spend-ups of the slate. Up-tempo matchup, what is it? 235 over under. So yeah, Kyrie, I think looks like a really, really good play here. One of the better spend-ups for sure, in my opinion. Secondary plays for Brooklyn, well, I need to see what they do with the starting lineup, right? Possibly a guy like DeAndre Jordan if he starts. I know he's kind of washed up, but if he starts, we probably get 25-ish minutes. He can, muck it up with Steven Adams. They're kind of like the same player, right? And a mobile 5 that they can play against each other, right? So if DeAndre Jordan starts below 4K, I think he's actually a pretty decent value play. Now, if they start Blake Griffin, then I'm not as high on DeAndre Jordan, so keep an eye on that one. Blake Griffin himself at the 5K price tag, right? 20, 25 minutes, playable. I don't love it. Other options for the Nets, I dislike talking about these secondary players a lot because they're really hard to trust. But I think there's a few other guys that are playable here. Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, Landry Shamet. Bruce Brown, again, depends on if he starts or not. But if he starts, we probably get close to 30 minutes from him. He's at 4.9. Like Jeff Green, probably gets close to the 30-minute mark. And then Shamet's been really good recently. Do I trust it? Not really. But, hey, he is 4-4. So, like, those three are in play. Do I love any of them? No, I don't. I never really feel comfortable, to be honest, about any secondary Brooklyn pieces. But those three are for sure playable, I will say. And then Joe Harris, his role doesn't change much. He's at 6K. It's like he's got to knock down his shots. Can he pay off that salary? Sure. But again, got to hit the threes to do it. On the New Orleans side, Zion Williamson's the guy for me at 9-7. I'm trying, like, I don't know if he's going to be that popular. I think, I'm fine paying the salary, though, right? I love targeting bigs against this Brooklyn Nets front court. It's like, who's going to guard him, right? So, Zion's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet, too. I think he's a pretty solid spend up. Ingram at 8-4. If you want to get a little bit contrarian, I'm good with it. Like, the minutes are going to be big on Brandon Ingram. Probably about 35 an up-tempo game. He's still got upside. I would just say a little bit of a lower floor than Zion Williamson. And Lonzo Ball, they said they're going to still limit his minutes, so not going to pay $7K for him, which them saying minutes limit means he's going to play 40 minutes. Yeah, that's probably it. Marshall's a little expensive. Bledsoe, it's just, he's Eric Bledsoe. Don't really trust him. Steven Adams at 5-2. He should get around, 25 to 30 minutes. Fair play at the center position, but I think if DeAndre Jordan starts, I'd rather take him for the salary relief over Steven Adams, just because he's a lot cheaper. All right, Clippers and Blazers. So now, obviously, this does change some things with Kawhi Leonard out. Paul George becomes one of the best spin-ups of the slate, if not the best. Right, great matchup here. Missing the top player. Should play 35-plus minutes. I think Paul George is a really, really good play now at his salary. The rest of the Clippers, if Kawhi was in, it was basically just a full avoid. But now we can at least consider some of these guys. So Reggie and Marcus Morris are usually the guys that step up when one or both of Kawhi and Paul George are out. Reggie Jackson, the minutes fluctuate with him, but again, when one of those guys are out, usually he does get extended a bit. I'm okay taking a shot on him for tournaments. Marcus Morris as well, right? He's not afraid to shoot the ball. I don't really think the price points stand out. Like, they don't stand out as amazing plays, but as filler options, if you get to Reggie, if you get to Marcus Morris, that's perfectly fine. As far as everyone else goes, Zubac, just the minutes have been frustrating for him, right? There's a couple games he'll play over 30 minutes, but a lot of the time he's been hovering the mid-20s minutes, which makes him more of a secondary option. Batum, I don't know if I can stomach it after what he did to me the last slate. Started with negative 0.5 fantasy points in like 12 minutes. Luke Kennard, does he start? If he starts, I think you can use him as a value play. The issue I have with Luke Kennard is, again, he doesn't do a ton besides score the ball. And I wouldn't expect huge minutes. I think if he does start, we probably get somewhere around 20, 25 minutes for Luke Kennard. And that's probably it for me for the Clippers. So now they're more interesting, obviously, with no Kawhi. On the Trailblazers side, CJ McCollum, again, another good spin up. You're going to make some tough calls for the spin ups in the slate, right? CJ is going to play about 40 minutes. Obviously, it's a tougher matchup here. But still, with no Lillard, he does get a pretty big boost. I don't think he's going to be super popular. I think if people are paying up for a shooting guard/guard in that same range, they're going to go to Kyrie. They're going to go to Paul George, who I agree. I think they're probably slightly more optimal plays. But don't forget about CJ McCollum here. Other options, Powell's always playable. Again, he's got to hit his shots. You guys know the deal with him. Going to play big minutes, but pretty reliant on the scoring. I do like Enes Kanter a good amount. I think he's one of the better plays in the mid-range. Assuming we get over 30 minutes from him, he's a guy that is, again, good point per minute guy. Probably gets you a double-double. The only concern I have is both teams can go small, right? We've seen the Clippers close without Zubac, so it's like, I'm just a little bit worried about that. I'm a little bit worried about Kanter maybe only playing like 25 minutes. If he only plays 25 minutes, I don't like him that much. So, like, right, there's just a little bit of worry there with his minutes and with the possibility of both teams going small. Rocco, Melo is someone I think is a value play that is, fine, right? Doesn't stand out as an amazing play. 31 and 35 fantasy points in 2 of the last 4 games in 28 minutes in both those. Again, they need help scoring with no Lillard. So Melo off the bench, I think you could use them. A couple other viable value guys. Simons, again, am I going to feel really good about this? No, but he's played 30 minutes in back-to-back games. He's below 4K. Not a super high usage guy. And then the guy like Rondé Hollis-Jefferson started last game. If he starts again, have some interest. He played 22 minutes. But again, there's no Nurkic. So RHJ could play small ball 5 here and maybe get extended a little bit more. So I actually do have some interest in RHJ because I think, if he plays more at the small ball 5, that's a bigger boost to him. And that is it for Portland. So 1 game left. Let's see. Make sure we're up to date here on everything else. I cannot see that Kawhi news. I can't see that. I'm in so much pain. So much pain. All right. So Minnesota. Karl Anthony Towns at 10.6K. Really, really good play. If you can afford them, right? You got to make tough calls. There's a lot of good spend ups in the slate. We got Kyrie in a great matchup with no Kevin Durant, with no James Harden. We have Paul George in a smash spot with no Kawhi Leonard. We have Zion in a great matchup. We have Fox in the opposite side, right? We have Randall in a good spot. There's a lot of good spend ups. You got to make some tough calls, but Cat is for sure up there. I think is one of the better spend ups. Should play about 35 minutes in a close game. We've had foul trouble, blowout. Not super worried about his minutes. Again, I think we get around 35. No one on the Kings can stick with him. So do like Cat at the top if you can afford him. Edwards, a decent contrarian GPP play. He'll play big minutes. Again, he's a little bit reliant on the scoring. Not a ton else I love here for the Timberwolves. Like Rubio, probably play mid-20s minutes. Kind of just a fair option. Naz Reid, I think it's about 15 to 20 off the bench. McDaniels is at 3.9K. I think we get somewhere around 25 to 30 minutes from him. He's not a good point per minute guy, but he is below 4K, and I think this is setting up for more of the stars and scrubs build. So you're going to have to take some shots and some value guys you probably don't want to. I think McDaniels is one of the guys you can at least consider. And finally, the Sacramento Kings. So this team is interesting because there's some possible upside with value plays we'll get to. We'll start with De'Aaron Fox at the top. Again, I like him. You got to make tough calls, right? There's a lot of good plays at the top. Fox is one of those guys that should play close to 40 minutes, one of the best possible matchups. And again, he's a guy that can fill up the stat sheet. So the price point might scare some people off. I'm still fine going to Fox. With Hield, Barnes, and Halliburton, I'm probably not going to get to Hield or Halliburton. The minutes been a little bit shaky for them recently. Barnes is the only guy in the mid-range I think I'll at least consider. Minutes, 35 to 40. Again, you kind of know what Harrison Barnes is. He can have upside games, but he also has a floor of probably like 20-ish. So not something I love, especially at 6'7", but at least playable if you're stacking this game up. And then we got to talk about Hassan Whiteside. So this one's tricky, right? Because Whiteside is a phenomenal point per minute guy. Minnesota is a big team. Can the Kings go small against Cat? I don't know if they can, right? Like, can they play a Mo Harkless at the 5, a Harrison Barnes if they go small? I don't think they can. So this could be a game where Whiteside pushes for maybe 30 minutes. Now, he got in foul trouble the last game, so don't be super worried about that in only 19 minutes. Assuming he starts, I really like Whiteside, but only for tournaments. There's risk here, right, with potential foul trouble against Karl Anthony Towns, and just the fact that his minutes are never secure. They're just never secure. Luke Walton does not like playing him, but I think he is their best bet to try and stop Cat. So I actually do like Whiteside a good amount for tournaments. And then there's a few value plays that are interesting here. Minutes, not really secure. DeLon Wright in 3 of the last 4 games, though, has played 23, 28, and 26 minutes. A lot of those games were in close games. There's also been a few mixed in, like 9, 15, right? So these minutes are not secure. Not something I feel amazing about. But he is like a decent point per minute guy when the minutes are there. He's shooting guard eligible, which is kind of nice. I do like DeLon Wright, just a little bit uneasy about his minutes. Mo Harkless, again, it's setting up for the stars and scrubs slate, so it's like he's in play. He has a pretty low floor, right? I played him here against Washington, but he can go out and get you like 25 to 30. So another one of those value guys I think is in consideration because of the way the slate is set up. And then Terrence Davis, if you want to get really risky, you can take a dart on him. He does have upside, but there's also a chance he plays like 10 minutes and gets you like 5 fantasy points. So, there's a few guys on the bench for the Kings I think are intriguing for tournaments. Nothing you're going to feel really good about, but definitely some upside there if the minutes like do end up going to some of those guys on the bench. All right, so let's see. Cole Anthony, Gary Harris, Bacon, Okeke, and Wendell Carter Jr. for the Magic. We got that. All right, so let's get some questions here. We got about 10 minutes until lock. Over 350 viewers and 87 likes, guys. I appreciate you guys coming to check it out on a 5-game slate on a Tuesday. So thank you very much. D'Lo with no minutes limit. Yeah, so D'Lo I think plays about 25 minutes. He's someone you can take a shot on for tournaments. He is in the mid-range, which is a little bit tricky. But yeah, I personally think this is setting up for more of that Stars and Scrubs build. Who are the Scrubs, though? There's a lot. There's no one that I love, like, really. So it's one of those where it's like, if you're making a lot of lineups, you can mix and match. If you're making one lineup, you got to make some tough calls with some of the value plays, right? There's no one that it's like, oh, you have to play, right? Last slate, we had so much value. This slate, like, there is value, but there's no one that I'm like, oh, I have to play this guy for value. So Bacon, Martin, or Kennard. All right, hold on. So it depends on Devontae Graham news. Right now, I'll say Dwayne Bacon because we know he's starting. Either way, like if Devontae Graham gets ruled out and Cody Martin starts, then it's close, I think, with Bacon and Martin. But I think I would still give the edge to Bacon based on what we saw last game. He played 34 minutes. Like Luke Kennard is in play, but I don't know if he plays more than 25-ish. So right now, it's Bacon for me. Do I feel good about that? Not really, though, because then he is super reliant on the scoring and does have a pretty low floor. Bogdan, Edwards, or Powell. Oof. If price doesn't matter, it is Bogdan. Point per dollar, probably Edwards for me. But those are three guys I'm not really on in this slate unless you're trying to get pretty contrarian. Joe Harris or Melo. Give me the discount of Melo. I'm not really looking at Joe Harris at almost 6K. Najee Marshall viable. He's a little bit too priced for me. 5K. He's been playing well. I don't know if I want to pay 5K for him. Yeah, Bruce Brown or Shamet. It's basically a coin flip. Depends on what they do with the starting lineup. I would say probably just go with whoever starts, but they're both in play. I don't really have a strong read on which one I prefer. All right, so forwards under 4.4. I think you got Dwayne Bacon looks pretty good at 4.2. I think Melo off the bench is a pretty solid option. Cody Martin if there's no Devontae Graham. There's options down here. Luke Kennard with no Kawhi probably starts and plays 25 minutes. So you got like those four that do stand out as pretty decent values. Rozier and Kennard or CJ and Terrence Davis. I mean, right now it's the first one. If Devontae Graham gets rolled in, probably the second. Be careful, Terrence Davis though. You got to be willing to eat basically like a 0 from him. Marcus Morris or Griffin? That's a tough one. I'll go Marcus Morris. I think with Kawhi Leonard out, I just think he can play like 35 minutes. Like, I don't know if Blake can play more than like 20, 25 minutes. Powell and Cash, I probably wouldn't. I mean, you can do it. I personally just don't like playing scoring-dependent guys in Cash. D'Lo, Rozier, Morris, Washington, Whiteside, George, Melo, and Shamet. I don't. It's a little bit too balanced for me. Randall or Capella? Give me Randall there. R.J. Barrett or Powell? Not really on either. I guess Powell because I think he plays a few more minutes. But yeah, Carey Jr. if he starts, I don't think I can stomach it. And the thing is, I don't think he's going to play a ton even if he does start. Like, yes, he got in foul trouble, but I think their plan is to play more PJ at the small ball 5, so I probably wouldn't do it. Yeah, Whiteside or Cantor. It's Cantor for cash games. You can take a shot on Whiteside. I like his upside, but the range of outcomes is really wide. Reggie, good for cash. I probably don't play him in a cash game setting. Zion or Kyrie. Basically pretty close to a coin flip. I guess give me Kyrie, but yeah, that's close. Fox or Kyrie. Again, you got to make tough calls with the guys at the top. Like, for me, a lot of those are close to 50-50 decisions. So, yeah, I'll go Kyrie. This is, though, like a slate I don't love because a lot of the spend-ups look really close, right? Like, they look really close. A lot of the guys. There's, 6 or 7 guys I think are almost identical plays at the top, right? If we just, go over the spend-up. So, Paul George looks great. CJ McCollum, Julius Randle, Karl Anthony Towns, De'Aaron Fox, Kyrie Irving. There's a lot of good plays. Simon's playable for value, right? I think this is the setup for more of that Stars and Scrubs build. Simons has played 30 minutes in back-to-back games. He's not a great point per minute guy. He is below 4K, though. Lock at 7. No, Lock's coming up in about 30 minutes. Yeah, best center option. I think Cantor looks really good in the mid-range. Whiteside I like for tournaments. DeAndre Jordan, if he does start, I think we can go to for value. And then Karl-Anthony Towns at the top. Alize Johnson might get some run. Not enough for me to consider him. Whiteside, Cantor, D'Lo for tourneys. Give me Whiteside there. Again, the range of outcomes, though, is so wide for him. I think Cantor is probably the best play. If you want to take the ownership, though, risk, you can go to Whiteside. Finch had D'Lo's minutes restriction is upwards of 30. So D'Lo is a little bit more in play with, that minutes of close to 30. Cody Martin over Kennard if Graham is out. I think so. I think so just because of the minutes, right? He's played 35 plus the last couple games. Kennard probably only gets 24, 25 based on what we've seen in previous games. One of Paul George, Kawhi Leonard is in. Cat and Fox or Kyrie and Zion. I mean, it's basically a coin flip, right? It's the two games I think have the most upside. I really think it's a 50-50 call there. Like, I don't have a strong take on that. I want Towns, but I want Cantor and Jordan. Yeah, so Jordan, I think I only play if he starts. I think I only play DeAndre Jordan if he starts. If he doesn't start, I'm probably not going to play him. So that starting lineup is pretty big for Brooklyn and who they end up starting. Devontae Graham is available to play. Okay, so Devontae Graham available to play. Kind of takes me off the Martin twins now. Terry Rozier, I'm probably not going to get to either. It basically takes everyone from the Hornets, I would say, besides maybe a PJ Washington out of play for me. Reggie Jackson or Cole Anthony? Give me Cole Anthony. RHJ and Cantor, yeah, I think you can do it. And the reason I think you can is because RHJ is so cheap that he doesn't need a ton to pay off his salary. Like Gary Harris for value, playable. I think I would slightly prefer Bacon based on what we saw last game. Well, Gary Harris played 27. Bacon played 33, 34. How many minutes will Mann get? Not enough. Not enough for me to consider him unless he maybe starts. I don't think he does, though. Right, they've been giving, let's see, where's guards? Yeah, he's at 4.6. I mean, maybe around 20-ish. The issue is, again, Rondo's on this team. If Rondo wasn't on this roster, I would have more interest in a guy, Terrence Mann. Cat or Capella, give me Cat there. Cole Anthony or D'Lo for tournaments. It's a close one. With D'Lo, minutes back up to 30. I will say I think Cole Anthony's a little bit safer than D'Angelo Russell. Paul George or Kyrie. Whew. I personally think those are the two optimal spend ups at the moment. So you're basically splitting hairs there. If I had to pick, give me Kyrie, but that one's close to a coin flip as well. Batum, would rather have Marcus Morris at a similar price. Yeah, unfortunately, Kawhi Leonard is out. Zion or Kyrie, again, close to a coin flip. I will go Kyrie, but that is close. Of course, man. Of course, Mike. Glad to have you in here. D. Roselove, not out of play. Probably plays 25-ish minutes. I don't know if I'm really getting to him. PJ or Marcus Morris. It depends It depends. I will say if the Pelicans start PJ at the 5, then I probably give the edge to him. If he doesn't start the 5, then it's close to a coin flip. Paul George, a lock. Not a lock, right? There's so many good spend ups in the slate with all the guys we've mentioned. But I do think he's up there as one of the more optimal spend ups with probably Kyrie. You still have Zion in a smash spot. You have Cat in an amazing spot. Fox in a great spot, right? So, again, Randall looks good too. All right, guys, that is going to do it. I got to go update some stuff for Patreon. So thank you, everyone, coming to check out the stream. We hit almost 400 viewers. So I cannot thank you guys again. Everyone hitting that like button helps me out a lot. And, let's refresh one more time, make sure we're up to date, and then I will get out of here. I think we are all good. Again, keep an eye on some of those starters, right? Keep an eye on the net starters, right? If DeAndre Jordan does start, I think he's a pretty solid value play below 4K. If he doesn't start, then I'm probably not going to get to him. But good luck to everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be back. I think we have 12 games tomorrow, which is that's not going to be fun, really. But I'll be live for that. So good luck, and I'll see everyone then.